Hi. Hey, welcome. Welcome. I feel like I should have a shirt that says ease on it. I have so many other shirts that have like the words that prompt me about who and what I am, those external prompts. So welcome, welcome. We're expecting in-house or for replay, dozen or so people here for our first global day of ease. So hi, welcome in. I'm Annie Redbird. For those that do not know me, who will be watching a recording and all, I'm Annie Redbird. I'm over here taking it easy in Oregon. And you're joining us for this inspired idea. And I'm sharing this space instinctively, intuitively, energetically with two women, Sarah and Jaji, that I've had conversations with over the course of the P, the time that's dealing with the C, and the C of a lot of changes. And so we had this inspired idea to come together, to have conversation, and to bring our magics and to share them in a circle, to share them in community. I come to you with a background in creating space, in creating sacred space within and around. I am a sanctuary designer. I'm an expert in creating healing environments, and I need them as much as my clients do. And so today is a time for us to be real people with each other and share ideas and inspiration around the topic of ease. And I'm going to sort of take a pause now and invite my esteemed, heart-centered, amazing women to lend their voices and introduce themselves. So let's do, Shaji, go first.
I feel like it's like roulette, like. Well, thank you, Annie. And I am so glad to be joining you to really, let's be honest, open up our conversations that we've been having, to invite more people into them, because the conversations that I've been having with you have been so nourishing and so, grounding in this time of dis-ease. To find that grounding ease is so important. And so my name is Jaji Ives, and I am an artist, a teacher, a mother. I wear many hats. I run a membership called Cultivating in Creativity, where I really invite women in to create art that is easeful, honestly. My thing is about inviting women in who are committing to taking that time for themselves. In addition to that, I have a brand, Baby Jives Co., where I create beautiful products to support families in their spaces and in their growth. And then when I'm not doing that, I'm reconnecting. I love being outdoors. I'm coming to you from my well-lit studio. And, the practice of creating ease and joy and sinking into that is so important. And, I do that through creativity and also through, gardening, hiking, all of the things. And also none of the things sometimes. Like I will admit to you, I took a nap before this. Because I listened to my body, and my body was like, you need 15 minutes. And I was like, no. But I listened, I laid down, and 15 minutes later, I felt like a whole new woman. So, and so I came on in ease. And I'm in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So I'm on the East Coast. So, it's not like I'm napping at 10 in the morning.
There would be no judgments if you are. There would be no judgments.
That's also why I'm sipping my chai tea.
That's what I was going to say. Like, what? So what if you did take a nap at 10 in the morning? If you need a nap, you need a nap. Doesn't matter.
Right.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. So, well, Sarah, I'll let you introduce yourself next.
Okay, well, same thing. I feel like our conversations privately have been so sort of healing for all of us. And so in an effort to think about how insane the world is right now and us all at times feeling so powerful, one of the things that we all collectively were coming together thinking was, what can we do? How can we support each other, but also, as Annie said, call more people into that, and not to, this isn't a lecture that you're coming to. This is time for you. This is time to just come into gathering together. And so that's what I'm excited about. And, the idea is hopefully over time that they'll grow and grow and grow. So tell people about it and tell your friends. But, but I'm Sarah. I guess I should start with that. And is that what you're waiting for? Oh yeah. See, we're just taking it easy. This is a super
That's
formal.
right. That's right.
But yeah, I teach and practice all the magical things, and I practice them specifically around money and business. And in thinking about those things, it's really, for me, one of my biggest missions for myself and for other women to be able to grow their income, grow their abundance, grow the material side of things while they create more ease, while they're actually working less. And so, so that they can, like Jaje, take a nap in the middle of the day, right? I often will take a bath in the middle of the day. I don't nap. I haven't napped really since I had my son, which was 9 years ago. Is that crazy? I don't know. I don't nap anymore, but I rest, I pause. And I do it often during the middle of the day. And there is something so defiant and rebellious about that. Right. And so even us gathering here together today, for some, depending on what side of the world you're on, for some, it is kind of the middle of the day or the earlier part of the day, to be able to come into gathering and do something for yourself, to take a beat, to take a pause for you. That's really luxurious. So.
That's a great word, luxurious. And I want to say thank you in advance for everyone who is here and who will listen to replay, because the energy and the intentions that are sort of behind this gathering, really at the root or the seed of it, is that we know, the three of us, you guys are like staring at the screen like this. We know that in our conversations, that when we have become more centered in our ease over these days, we have a greater chance to affect peace. We have a greater chance to affect peace. And when we aspire to that, there's also that level of responsibility to what do I need to be, and what do I need to be in my space of me, so that I can promote peace and not just be a talking box about it. Like, I can really hold that energy and promote that energy out further. And so I think that's a really lovely segue for me to say, in this conversation, my intention is to be a very real person with all of you here, and to speak to you from my heart, and that I come to this question of what kind of ease do I need from the season of my life that I'm in, which means that for each one of us here, we're in a different season of our lives. And that that means that the particulars, the salt of our soul, needs a different type of ease, perhaps. But ultimately, the intention I'm setting for this gathering is that this will ripple out peace. And that's very important to me, deeply important to me, because I do think that we have the power to move energy. So in that, what I wanted to do is just to say, hey, this is a casual conversation, that we have some ideas, we have some thoughts, we have definitely a lot that we can talk about. We want to keep it to 1 hour. It is being recorded. So in the event that that you want privacy, I would just invite you to go into your settings now within Zoom and change your name if you want to, or what have you. But it is going to be recorded, or it is being recorded, and we're going to share it out on the old YouTube. So I just want everyone to be aware of that, in the event that you're needing more ease in your privacy. The other is that we really want to be space creators, right? We really want to create a space, and I want to invite us sort of into the heart space, as we have this casual conversation, as we have this uplifting conversation. We'll have things to share, and we invite you to share, but I want to kind of get us all in the same kind of cubby. In my mind, I think of cubbies because that's the season that I'm in my life with a 5-year-old, is sort of this cubby, if you will, and to just kind of do that in a practice that I do with the people I work with, of just kind of walking into our hearts. So let's set that tempo, if we can and will. I want to thank all of the energies that are here. I want us to become aware of the heartbeat that's here for us. I want us to be aware that the word ease has been made for us both as a noun and a verb. It allows an energy both to be a place, a thing, and an action for us. And that what we know is that we are these amazing energy forms that take inspiration from the world around us. And that when we consider what ease is for us in this season of our lives, right now, as we're really aware of our heartbeats, is that ease expresses through us like a most beautiful, beautiful, verdant valley, rich, soft, and nourishing. And I want us to sort of picture in our minds that valley and what it feels like to be in that valley that has so many sensory elements within it that are just to nurture us. And that valley, that ease, where it just helps us drop right down into who we are. That valley is alive within us. It's there. It's the songbirds are there, the grasshoppers are there, the daffodils, the forget-me-nots. It's all there. Those skies, those blue sky, those clouds drifting over, that trickle of water coming from somewhere sacred. It's all there. That ease is there for us. And then that is the place that we are remembering as we have this conversation together. And so as we sort of step up, back through, and into this space of now, I just want to sort of open up the question, and we can just have this like open and frank discussion about what is ease for us now, like right now? And what does that feel like? What does that look like? And then I'll invite Sarah to ask a really important question about it. So just sort of opening that up. We had a really great conversation on the old IG. When was that, you guys? When did we have that conversation on Insta?
About a week ago.
Was it? Okay.
Mhm.
The schedule's a little tricky. We got all sort of fired up about, the concept of ease. And one of the things that occurred to me after we had that conversation, and I'll link that in the email that goes out with the recording, is for me, I was like, okay, yeah, okay, Annie, but what kind of ease do you need? What kind of ease do you need? How much ease do you need in your life right now? Because what I know in my work with some phenomenal coaches, Sarah Drury being one of them, is that, it's that, well, what's your intention for ease in your life? What's the intention as you ask for something? Or in my case, I have found myself complaining that I don't have enough of it. And so, that's uncomfortable, honestly. That's uncomfortable. And so I was asking myself that question as preparing for this, like, okay, Annie, so how much ease do you need to feel your ease, right? And that led to the, like, okay, well, what's the season of my life? And if I'm a proponent of peace, well, what kind of ease is it? Is it ease in my schedule? Is it ease in my diet? Is it ease in my mind? What, right? So I volley that as our opener for today's.
And so I'll kind of riff off that for a second, if that's okay. But I'm curious. So when you say that, and then I'm curious, can we all raise our hands? Like, does anybody feel anxious? Like, do you ever feel anxious? Do you ever feel like, Rosemary, what about you? Yes, no, kind of, not really. Oh, you're chill. All right. What do you
I'll put
feel?
one up on you all. I'm retired.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I've
All
already
right.
gone through all
different
those seasons.
season. Yeah, the different season.
So,
Got it.
but so here's the thing that I want to kind of think about, and it even goes into retirement too, because I was thinking about this the other day, but essentially, because my mom just retired actually, and so the thing that I've been considering is how when we feel certain feelings. So it made me think of it, Annie, when you were just talking about that. I don't have the ease that I want, or I don't have something that I want here. There is usually the ease, the peace, the flow. Those things are really foreign to our body, especially if we didn't grow up in those feelings. And so we find ways to create uncomfortable or busy situations, right? We subconsciously do that. So, Rosemary, specifically for you, I was thinking about this with my mom, is like, she just retired, but she has this pattern where she'll be kind of like just going with things. And then all of a sudden, just things are just like too busy, and she's just stressed out, and it's overwhelm, and all of these things sort of hit. And I've been wondering, when is this going to hit in retirement? Because just because you are retired doesn't mean your patterns don't still follow you. So that's why I was asking, is it anxiety? So like, just even to get familiar with our specific forms of sabotage that take away from our ease or flow or happiness or fulfillment, just like feeling fulfilled in life, right? And so to that point, it is, what are some specific ways that we then can create the feelings that we want to feel, the ease, the flow, the whatever, fill in the blank, really. Right. And so the things that I sort of came to are twofold, but one is this long term, really looking at the longer term scenarios of our life, like 3 years out, 5 years out, 10 years out, and really getting that kind of clarity around what we're building, what we're creating, what our next chapter is, regardless of if we're sinking into new projects or we're wanting to experience an amazing retirement, right? Whatever it may be. And so it's this long-term, short-term. So really having that clarity, but then also coming back into, this is something I give to all of my clients, is to create a sample schedule. And so this is what I would offer today for everyone as we're considering ease and flow and whatever else we're creating. What if you had the perfect schedule? I wake up and I journal in the morning, and then I go take my magical bath. And then I do this, and then I do that. And on Mondays, it looks like this. And on Tuesdays, it feels like that. And we're really sinking into the everyday of what would be the ideal schedule that I was living. What would that look like? Oh, well, it would partly be that I'm working with clients on some days, and other days I'm not doing anything, or whatever it is. So we really have clarity around what, as Annie said, what is the ease that we need? And then we build in steps that allow us to create it. And again, that's this long-term, short-term, understanding the whole time that our body, our nervous system is going to be naturally resistant to that. It's going to work against us by putting us in unsettled states when we try to create something that we've never created before. More expansion, more ease, more flow, more abundance. Our body is going to be like, that doesn't feel right. I'm not doing it. So I'm going to fill it back up with something else. Right. And so it's like, we have to get into the practice of it, the habitual nature, even just within our bodies. So I'll leave it there.
Well, Sarah, and I'll add, like, that reminds me of, I very intentionally carved out space in my schedule to have creative time that was with no intention other than being in my studio, being in my space. And I found myself filling it up because I felt like I'm not being productive enough. It's that productivity that gets me. And that I was very much raised in a house where, like, if you were just sitting around staring at a wall, you weren't doing anything productive, which for me, sitting around staring at a wall is like, it's part of my practice. It's like, it's how I get good ideas. I mean, I watch the paint dry, literally. And so it's like this fight in my body sometimes to give myself that permission. And I have 2 children, I have a husband, and sometimes I'll be like, I need to go take 2 hours to be in my studio. And if something doesn't come through, if I'm sitting at my desk and nothing's happening, I'll start feeling guilty because I took that time, I claimed it, and I almost like made a promise to myself that something amazing was going to happen. And when something amazing doesn't happen, I'm like, oh crud, I wasted this time.
Oh God, yeah.
And it's sort of like, oh, but yet did I really waste that time? Or I never do. But it's so ingrained in us, this like, go, 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 don't waste time. Don't, it's that whole, I don't know, what is it? The Protestant work ethic. The go, 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 don't waste time, make every moment count. even when you're working towards the end of your life, when you're thinking about those things that you want to accomplish, it's like, did I matter enough? And ease doesn't ask, do I matter enough? Ease
Sarah.
asks, like, did I sink in? Yeah.
Kind of like, well, no,
Go,
it's just that
Sarah.
I have distinct memories. This is something for me that I've really had to untether for myself of, you're only worthy or worth anything if you're being productive. And I know that part of it, like, it's so fascinating because it was something that my mom always praised in me. And it's not a bad thing to be a hard worker, but she would be like, you're such a hard worker. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, even though she's trying to like be kind and loving, it's something that it anchors in us, like, oh, when I work hard, that's when I'm doing a good job. That's when I'm worth something. That's when someone will love me. Right. And so we tie our own worthiness to that. So sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it.
Conversation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
And
think it also, Shashi, it's like, how unkind are we being with ourselves in that very moment? That's what I just, when I take that pause, like, oh my gosh, Annie, could you just take it easy on yourself? You know, it's like, you would never talk to somebody else like you're talking to yourself right now. Just take it easy. Gosh, it's that.
Well, and also the seasons we're in, like, you are, Annie, you have the youngest children among us. And I remember that season of feeling like there was no time for me. I was constantly running, constantly, tending to the child. If the child was unattended for more than 20 minutes, oh, that was not good. Like, you come back into the room, you're like, oh my goodness, what happened?
Right.
Now it's like my children are older, they don't need me as much. And so it's this strange time of, they want to be alone. And then I almost feel this guilt of like, shouldn't I be with you? Shouldn't I be doing something for you? And it's like this transition back into claiming my own time, my own ease. And, and Rosemary, you're at the age, actually, my parents have both retired in the past, decade, and I've watched them transition into, it's a different transition. It's like, you still, I think at all these transitions, have these ideas of what you should be doing. And so but what you should be doing isn't necessary. It's not your task list.
I was wondering if you have that, Rosemary. Do you have that feeling?
Well, actually, I'm from, growing up, what are you accomplishing? What do you want to be? What's the next step? My husband and I were just talking that what parents don't realize is that raising an infant to adulthood is the easy part.
Yeah.
The hard part is when you see your children as adults. And now their decisions have much more consequence. Now your parental advice really means something. You've been raising them all this time, giving them advice, making sure they don't hurt themselves. And now there are major decisions that need to be made that they ask you for advice. Or the other side is, you've been setting the example all these years of who you are. So I was the one at 19, I had my hairstyling license. At 27, I decided I need to go to college. So transition from hairstylist to urban planner. And my children saw that transition. They experienced that. So them pushing themselves and just becoming whoever you wanted to become was set as an example. So now I see them as adults. It's like, what do you want to do? Sure, go for it. Yeah, it's hard. Yes, it is. But that's what makes it fun. Right?
Gosh, I love that.
It is.
I love that too.
That's powerful. It's a powerful reframe, because it just goes right back for me, Rosemary, to the fact of, there's that line, I think it's either Marianne Williamson or is it in the Course of Miracles? You're here to be the teacher. You're not necessarily here to see the lesson learned. And the fact that we are constantly constantly just this active ripple. Like we like create that ripple. And I, this is very touching too, because part of the conversations that we've had prior to this was like, how much is my son seeing me at ease?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And I got to tell you, I get a little like choked up about that, because he's 5. And so if we do the math, half of his life has been during this thing, this
Yeah.
work, this thing, or these things like the locusts or those next, right? It's like
That or
okay.
aliens. I'm betting on aliens, but anyway.
But he's seen the qualities that he would want in a future partner, whether it's romantic or business. He's seen those qualities that you demonstrate of how a woman should be at ease, a business person, a creator, a mom, a friend. All of those qualities you are demonstrating to him by the way you live.
That's or
It's-
when I say, when I get down on my knees and I look at his beautiful amber eyes and I say, I made a mistake.
Mhm.
I
Yep.
made a mistake. I made a choice or whatever. And just sort of like, and I that like being at ease with myself in those moments to say, you know, I'm working to take it easy on myself because I made a mistake. You know, because my kiddo, he's like, see that thing? I'm going after that thing. I'm going after that thing right now. And then he gets frustrated with himself, like skiing. Like I'm here to learn to ski now. Like, okay, and frustrated until he got to a point where it was more easy for himself. And boy, was that a huge lesson.
Thank God for cycles. This is the thing. It's like they don't last, right? It's like there's a sadness to it, like a bittersweet to it. But then there's also this joy that comes with each new chapter and cycle. And I'm even seeing that through Rosemary's eyes of saying like, there's even this exciting chapter of watching them do everything and you being there to support. And so it's just cool. I love it.
Well, but I'm still creating.
Of course.
So that's where people's perception of, well, you're retired. Why do you
That's
want
what I was
to
going
create
to
a
ask.
program?
Yeah.
What
Why do
is
you
your
want to
next
coach?
chapter? What are you doing?
Well, I'm actually developing a due diligence, like a program to educate women on how to purchase real estate and save time and money. Because women are
Awesome.
paying more than men in a transaction. They don't know how to walk away from the deal. They're relying solely on their realtor, which I'm a realtor now as well, but they need to collaborate with their realtor. It's your money, protect it.
I love that. That is genius. That is so smart and so
Well,
And so needed. So needed. I
Yes.
love that you're,
Very
using this
needed.
time to create something that empowers other women.
Makes it
Yes, and I
easier
think
for women.
one of the things that I always bring in, I've had my cosmetology license longer than you've probably been alive.
Stop
I
it.
still have a valid license because
Do
I
you
got
really?
that. Yes,
So I don't know if you know, but I had a
I know that.
cosmetology license. Okay, for 12 years. But this is interesting. I want to pick your brain about it because I thought about completely just letting it go. So you still have. Okay, tell me about this. Why?
Well, I haven't worked in a salon in over 30 some years,
Yeah.
but I cut the family's hair, cut my own hair, cut my husband's hair. So to me, it's especially cutting hair is a very creative process. But what we learned in the salon to create that rapport immediately, the moment you touch someone, it's having that gentleness, having the ability to gain someone's confidence in you. And then the stories that we've heard, you are a quasi therapist, and yet you're trying to keep it together for your next customer because you can't fall apart at 9 o'clock in the morning because you've heard this horrible story of being physically abused or mentally abused, or your husband told you this morning he wants to get a divorce. So you're just taking all this in. So to me, that's like, all right, how do I bring what I learned at such a young age
Yep.
into real estate, into development, into teaching women, how do you protect your assets, right?
Oh, so good. That's
Mm.
So
Yeah, and I love
yes, so
that.
that's what
I
I'm doing in
love
this
that.
season, is
I
still
love that.
having impact, because that's what you really want to do at every age, right? You want to
absolutely.
create impact, connection, and all of that. It helps because you're looking at your life with gratitude,
Mm.
Mhm.
right? And gratitude that you got through it, that you got through a certain point. It's like, whoa, I can't believe it's true. This too shall pass.
Mhm.
But you have to have the courage to hang in there and to step back sometimes and forgive yourself, right? You're not,
Yeah.
that was the lesson that you needed to learn. So a little easy on yourself.
That's it.
Mhm.
That's just it. You know, it reminds me of, I was telling these women about when my dad went into recovery. I was 13, alcohol. So he got sober when I was 13. And this was down in the Fremont area, California,
Mhm.
and Morgan Hill, Fremont areas. And so I can remember that when we would go visit him, because he went inpatient for 30 days. And when we go visit him, you would arrive onto this like campus thing. And there would be these signs, easy does it, which is one of the like the handles or mantras or something. And it just reminds me of how important that thing is about reminding ourselves to take it easy on ourselves and take it easy, because there's like this engine that's running, right? And we are always creating, to your point, and sort of getting revved up in that, and then how to modulate that and just sort of take it easy and take it easy. And for me, one of the things that's really helped, because I had to Sarah's thing, I had her point about your central nervous system. You did this, Sarah, when you were talking with your hands. Before Thanksgiving, I just had a vagus nerve like shutdown. I just like, I had the thing where the body just is like, nope,
We're done. You're done. Go sit down.
Yeah. Yeah. And it took several days. There was significant vertigo and all the stuff. But it gets to that point of what are the things that I need to change or do differently to grant myself the grace and the ease, because the system is showing me that something needs to be different. And I went back to very foundational things. And so this is what I would leave us with, is that there are foundational things that we know from the healing nature side, which is to bathe our senses, So going to see my hair artist, her name is Brittany, that's a sensory experience for me. And when I say, okay, when I say bathe our senses, is that what of the 5 or 6 senses do we need to really support? Because we understand on the science side is that when we support those senses 2 or more, we're decreasing the stress response in the body. And so I naturally go to the visual, right? That's how we opened up today. I go to the visuals so that I can see and experience that. And so I'm saturating that visually. I'm saturating myself visually with things that help
And
me
didn't you say
recall.
specifically with green and nature is
Yes.
like to take that even deeper, like, yeah.
Verdant. And so when I opened us up, is I'm taking us to a verdant valley, because I want us to be in the color green, which, by the way, what chakra? Raise our hands. What chakra Heart
Heart.
chakra. Right, right. So why I chose this today is like, I'm wearing these tones of green so that I can remember. And when we're looking out those windows, taking that positive momentary distraction, which we talked in the IG, and I'm turning my attention, I'm saturating my senses with that, which help that whole central nervous system recalibration right there. And then when I'm back in that green heart, I'm able to then remember myself, remember myself and be more gentle. Parasympathetic sympathy for myself, right? So love that.
In the Mary Magdalene Revealed book, there's a card deck that goes along with this. And there's the Mary Magdalene card is all about heart energy and opening up Mary Magdalene in general is, but opening up the heart energy. And there's a beautiful phrase that she says, I'll have to pull the whole thing up, but it's essentially saying, I call my energy back from all times, all spaces, all dimensions. And then it allows you to sink into your heart energy to really open up that flow. And it's like from that space is where ease can be created. When you're forgiving yourself, when you're easy on yourself, ease is created from that because it's from love. So it's just
when I also,
together.
well, one thing I was going to add is I feel like ease is presence, like sinking into being in that moment.
Yeah.
And not moving forward, not moving back, but really being centered in that space of here and now. And, you know, when we're in that space of presence, we relax, like our vagus nerve actually like stops, you know, it stops vibrating, and, you know, we can reset ourselves. And it's interesting, Sarah. So I have sitting on my desk this.
Yes.
Which
Mine is in the other room, but I have
which is what I did last time we had we were on our art membership. I was relating how my head has been spinning in circles with everything that's going on. And you know, one of the things I do to reconnect to presence is go outside, go for a walk, go even lay in the grass when it's warm enough. It's not quite there yet. And just look up at the tree.
Saturday. It was the best, and I haven't done it in so long. And so
I'm jealous. I'm jealous because that is one of the quickest ways I think to reset ourselves is to go out and just sink into. And, you know, like here it was just the idea of looking up at those trees, you know, that swirling canopy, and, you know, going with the watercolors. And, you know, that's one of the reasons I love watercolors, because it like keeps you present because it's constantly changing. And, you know, and doing that is one of the ways that I often will create ease in my life, is it connects me to that present moment. And, you know, it's like, if you want to put the cherry on top, it's doing watercolors outside on a sunny day in the grass. Like that is just, that is like, you know, the be all end all for me. But
it was the best. There's nothing more magical than that. Like nothing in the whole world.
Exactly. And so it's, and just creating those moments. Like I was sharing with you all, like this is another, I have one at my desk. This is like another thing, like when things are, you know, doodling. I think we all do this. Like when you're on a call and, you know, just doodling, repetitive mark making. But, you know, you take something like that and you look at a painting like by Gustav Klimt, like what are his artworks? Doodles. Really? Like, I mean, they're beautiful paintings, but on top of them, it's this repetitive mark making, it's this doodling, and it allows our central nervous system to slip into that ease, like meditation.
Not only that, but it's a movement that we are encoded with. I mean, when you look at the sacred geometries that we are expressing in so much that we do, that's represented in nature constantly. It's just it's a languaging that's bringing us constantly back. So there are the forms that we see in leaves, and how those leaves express with the forms and the lines in our hands. There's just a constant languaging that happens in that flow of life. And so that presenting thing is so vital. You're right, Jaji. It's so vital that's what where the ease lives, in that sort of slip, right? In that slip, in that movement. I have Rose here. I mean, it's like you start to see the patterns represented in most everything. And
time, astrology, like there's all the circles.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like you said, roses.
That's right. That's right. It's that. And how beautiful that is to have that constant reminder, that everything is so universal and yet so very personal. Right. And so as we look for the practical pieces of what will help bring me more ease, going out in nature, figuring out a schedule that fits for me in a much more nourishing way, slowing down, like physically slowing the cadence of my speech down, doing those things to prompt ourselves. The reality is there's this magnificence that we are it, right? And that's the conversations that we've had, that by our very nature we are that present moment of ease right now. I love that. All right, so then we are 10 minutes out from completion. Is there anything that's left on your cosmic drafting tables that you guys want to share? Rosemary, I would just want you to jump in anytime you want to. I think that there's a couple things that I wanted to mention, but I want to turn it over to you guys in the event there's something you want to speak towards or share.
I think part of the conversation that we've shared today, it really speaks to creating that flow of life, right? To be able to slip into that gap, to realize that there are moments that you just need to be present to. How are you interpreting your world around you at this particular moment? And just back up a little bit and you go, okay, this is going to pass. What meaning do I want to give this? Right. And then if you start to look at nature, since Annie's been talking about all the landscaping and everything she does, well, I've just been planting away. And I actually, when I was going through a divorce, started drawing a lot. So I have this drawing over my fireplace. And when you look at your work, it all really represents your journey that you've come. When you look at just flowers, especially with Georgia O'Keeffe, talks about the feminine in everything, in nature. So now with Women's History Month in the United States and for March, it really is embracing women all the months now, and to realize the power that we have to create, but the power that we have to create presence for those that encounter us. And I think that's where people are, and women are missing that. They're not in tune to their own feminine energy, their power, that they can create peace with whoever they encounter.
Yes. Oh, I love that.
Who wants to go on that one? Because I'm jumping at the bit on that one.
You go ahead. I'm just cheering all of you on, because
it's a beautiful thing, right? Because Rosemary, I mean, this is that awakening that we as women create space. We create space. We expand to make space. And that, I mean, I get tons of goosebumps just thinking about the power of that. And I think about women across this planet who are at this moment, right in the now, who are saying peace, peace. And for all of the women who are like, I'm not sure what that means about the power within me and standing in my power. I'm not sure what, it's that I just send that out to them, so that we call that back, we call back that this is us. This is us to do this work naturally.
Well, and Annie, I will add to that. It's like you were saying, we expand, we create space, we grow. The more we expand into that space of who we truly are, what is drawing us out there into the world, like what's speaking to us, what's resonating. When you move towards things that are speaking to you, you're expanding and you're creating that space, you're growing, and you are changing the world by how you grow, by how you choose to meet those invitations to become more and more you. And I think oftentimes, especially as women, we're trained to shrink in, to be polite, to not expand into a room, but rather slide gracefully and accommodate. And that's really doing the world a disservice when we hide that power and who we are and don't expand fully into what we are capable of. Because when we hold back, nobody wins. And so the more we grow into that power and the more we expand into being exactly who we are, the better the world gets. I always say, it's like if the world was run by women, it'd be like we would take care of each other. Women, it's like I have a heart that just basically wants to take the world and embrace it. And, and I think many women, like, we just have this expansive nature. We want to, and it can get us into trouble because we can end up being giving without allowing that receiving. And so that ease is like that flow of, actually it's that flow of receiving for ourselves.
The balance.
The balance.
It's like that click. This is what balance feels like for me right in this moment. Because I think that when we go back to the sort of what is ease and how much do you need, it's finding that time in our life, a moment, a day, a season, whatever, when I embodied ease. Like, what does that feel like? And to memorize that, to imprint that. And then to say, okay, there's my touch point. There's my design. There it is. And then to your point, Jaji, is like, okay, that now I have something because I can remember how that feels in my body. And now I can check against that. I can practice. I can play with that. Yeah. This is like heart gym. Sarah, you want to have anything for close?
Well, I found the quote. I'm going to put it in the chat here, and then I'll just read it, if that's okay. So this is the quote that I had mentioned earlier that is from the card deck. And it is, so you can just sink into this, so those who are listening later, but all of you, I'll just kind of sink into this and I'll just read it out for us. I call myself back from all times and all places, and I'm going to add all dimensions. I am my own. I contain the answers I seek, At any point and under any circumstances, I can enter the sanctuary inside of my heart. I can meet with my soul and merge with my divine love. I can choose to allow my soul to lead this lifetime. I am the bridge between heaven and earth, fully divine and fully human. I am in service of love. In each moment, I return to the mediator between the worlds, my own heart. In each moment, I can choose to be with the truth that is right here within me.
Mm. Mhm. That's so
That is
Yeah.
powerful. That is,
beautiful.
Right? We can sink into that and take that with us. And as you were saying, that alone can call you back to those good feelings inside of you. And we know what love feels like, even if we don't always know what ease feels like. We know what love feels like. So if we can sink into that, then we can find the ease from there.
Mhm. Beautiful. Beautiful. Let's close, shall we? Yeah. Thanks for this time, for all of the serenity, all of the energy being here. So we will share the replay with those that have registered. And I think, Sarah, I think it'd be great to share I'll go ahead and take this
Yeah, I can
and share this in the email that goes out with the replay. And then, y'all, we talked about, maybe setting up a next little gathering, a next conversation. Do you want
more
to?
gatherings with more amazing women? Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Dun, dun, dun. And so, what, month from now?
we were thinking Friday, April 8th at 2 p.m. Eastern.
I
For
think that's a lovely date.
another hour of sinking into ease, peace, love, and
Yeah.
community and gathering. So
Mhm.
sinking into ourselves, really. It's an hour for us. It's an hour to reflect on and share our experiences and, maybe have a few ahas.
Yeah. And it also makes me think of that thing that we talked about on the live that, I've been at peace this whole time. I don't know about y'all, but I've been at very immense peace. And the more that we're at peace, the more that ripples out into the world. So we're doing more than we think we're doing when we're gathering together. So I just want to throw that out there too.
That's
Exactly.
beautiful. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
This was wonderful. I'm sure we'll have many more women listening to this replay, but I would encourage them to participate in the actual live event so that they could feel the energy that you ladies bring, so that they could feel your heart, so that they know they're not alone. And
Thank
being
you.
in person, listening, participating will be therapy for them, and they'll start to realize their own power. So thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank
Mwah.
you. Yeah. Thank you for being part of this, Rosemary.
Yes.
Oh, thank you for inviting me.
Yes, indeed.
All right.
Indeed. All right. So this closes out the Serene Sisters Talk episode uno. So until next,
Love you all.
best and peace.